Hello, everybody. Hello, ma'am. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
Sonali.
Hi, hello, welcome. Hi, Bharat sir. Hi, Dharnidharan sir. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. We will start.
Yes, we'll start.
A very good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of RNSIT, Department of MBA and Research Center, a warm welcome to one and all for the panel discussion on ensuring certainty in uncertain times, the evolving role of digital marketing. And it's a time to welcome the effervescent panelists who are there with us. Dr. Smita S. Ranganathan, a warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure also to welcome Mr. Dharanetharan, the Director, Social Legal. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Bharat Surendran, the Founder and Director, TechMet Leadership Academy. A warm welcome to you, sir. Request Bharat sir to please switch on the video. Request Bharat sir to please switch on the video. And it gives me an immense pleasure also to welcome Ms. Sonali Datta, the moderator of this panel discussion session. And a warm greetings to our head of the department MBA, Dr. U. Bojana sir, who is also present. A warm welcome to you, sir. And on behalf of MDP team, we also extend a warm and hearty greetings to all the participants who have registered and also were a part of this panel discussion. And it's also a time to acknowledge our thanks to our knowledge partner Business Standard, technology partner Vision Digital India, and in association with Karnataka Management Association. I welcome one and all And over to Ms. Sonali Datta for the panel discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Welcome, guys. We have almost 100 participants, and many are just logging in as we speak. So, the topic for today is ensuring certainty in uncertain times, the evolving role of digital marketing. We have three esteemed panelists amongst us, and they bring in a plethora of experience, both academically and from the corporate side of things. We'll be chatting with them, and they'll be sharing their views of their experiences and how we can utilize this time of COVID 19 and this lockdown quarantine period to our advantage using online marketing and technology. Welcome, everybody. We would like to start by introducing the panelists one by one. And as I do that, they can share some of their thoughts, and then we can move on to the next panelist. I would like to request all the panelists to keep their videos on as we speak and unmute when they can give their introduction. Bharat sir, can we start with you? If you can turn your video on, that'll be really great. Bharat sir, are you there? Okay, yes, I think sir is coming online. We'll just give Bharat sir some time to, I think there's some technological glitch, not a problem. We'll wait for him to come online, and by that time, sir, Dhanidharan sir, can we start with you?
Yes, please.
Sure. So I would like to introduce sir. Dhanidhar sir is the director of a company called Social Eagle. He's an enterprising first-gen entrepreneur from Sivakasi, who holds over a decade of experience in the field of marketing and IT. He has completed his master's in computer science and worked for telecom majors like Telcordia and Verizon. Also headed the marketing department at Natural Salon and Spa, where he managed the end-to-end marketing activities. He kickstarted his marketing stint as a brand manager for engineering colleges and played the key role for strategizing, branding, and marketing. His company, Social Eagle, has worked for world's best brands like Asus, Nestle, Meris Singapore Management University, Nature Valley, and many others. He holds key positions in Junior Chamber International and Rotaract Club, and he is also the current president of BNI Aspire. Welcome, sir. We would like to invite you to share your thoughts about today's event.
Okay. Thank you so much. And yes, very precisely, the topic is certainty in uncertainty. And yes, we are focusing on possibility thinking, and we are finding ways to sustain in this particular market scenario. Okay, so this is where our focus is on. So according to me, like digital is taking its own trend. What is expected to be $350 billion business in e-commerce industry, which was supposed to happen at 2030, we are expecting that to reach maybe in next 2 years, we will be seeing at least 350 billion US dollars business, particularly when it comes to e-learning platforms. Okay, so people here now, they are getting used to a lot of tools like Coursera or Udemy, and now people who are taking regional courses, they are taking the leverage of the current scenario, and whatever they know, they have found in their experience, they are able to share, and eventually they are also making money. Okay, so with what we have and with the current trend that is been in the market, at least for last 2 years, the e-commerce industry is booming, and particularly the webinar-based selling is taking its peaks now. And in this particular scenario, how we could leverage maybe Facebook or Instagram to reach out to the market, to reach out to our current audience, and eventually can we make a sale out of it. And this requires less than 20,000 maybe investment in terms of technical tools alone, but you don't need to have an office space or employees. Like if you are concentrating on the good things that has happened during COVID times, I would say cost cutting automatically happened, and you could leverage based on the tools that are ready-made, that is available ready-made. Okay, so that is how you can take leverage of the current scenario. I would always say, whenever we are facing difficulties, take advantage of the difficulty and find ways to come out of it. And man is always blessed with their thought process, and when he is given with a lot of challenges, he comes out like a hero, like a superhero. So yes, that is how you have to approach any scenario. And being at the COVID times is an advantage, I would say, because all other natural calamities, they don't give you signal beforehand. Okay, maybe like it will occur on a single day. The tsunami might occur on a single day, and it would like destroy anything and everything on a single day. But COVID has already given us a clue in the sense next 3 months or next 6 months it is going to be like this. Guys, get prepared and face the calamity. Okay, so that is a sign that has been already sent. That is an advantage. I'm seeing it as an advantage. Yes, we are preparing ourselves to like maybe handle this current scenario. I would say yes, digital tools and digital social platforms. These are the areas that I would definitely focus now because that is where the money is.
Perfect, perfect. So thank you so much for setting the context about online courses and webinars and how things are taking shape. We will be coming back to you with specific questions about your experience and your industry for our participants here. Thank you so much. I would love to move on to Bharat sir. Welcome, sir. I'll just
Yeah.
introduce you a little bit to our audience, and then you can take over and share your views about today's agenda from your end. So Bharat Surendran is the founder and director of TechMate Leadership Academy. He's a digital marketing consultant, trainer, speaker, and an author. He has done his executive program in digital marketing from Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. He's a chief digital consultant to KM Biomed, a healthcare company. He had also been an external digital marketing faculty for Times of India Groups, Madras Management Association, and many others. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, welcome. This is in a way, historically, this is a period where I think it's something which no human being actually expected, that there would be something of this nature. Pandemic of this nature would actually strike our planet Earth, and human being has always been living in an assumption that he is the most powerful being on the planet Earth. And then unfortunately, it happened that the nature has proved that you are not. And of course, you have to understand that you have to coexist with the nature. And whatever the science and development that we have developed, I think right now we have to understand that if we are not going to coexist with nature, I think we are going to really, long term we are going to suffer. So in a way, that is actually a kind of a lesson which we have learned. From the business perspective, I would say it is important. Lot of lessons that we learn. In one of the things which I would say that since you are also an engineering institution, which of course specializing in business management, I myself an engineer, and then an MBA qualification. What we all, I think, have not focused on in our all the engineering curriculum is we have not been thinking about protecting the nature, so-called environmental engineering. I'm talking about. Those are something which I think we have not given importance, I would say. And the COVID, I think, has taught us. So I think that we have to really be careful, because it is not about uh, today our economy, whether it's going to recover or whether it is not going to recover. It is important that the future generations, that two particularly generations after this, they have uh, a good, healthy, wonderful, happy life. And are we going to do something at this point of time to make sure that we are able to build things which would actually facilitate their lives? And that is what we are supposed to think about. And in India, I think more than 70% of the population is youth, youngsters. And all these youngsters actually have to graduate, and they have to come out, and they have to find jobs, and then they have to build this economy. And that's the biggest challenge that we have, I would say. Digital, of course, today there is an immense opportunity for us to make sure that we can actually take this digital platform and of course use it effectively in our lives, so that we will have a better life. I think that's what we have learned, I should say. Right.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views. I think you have rightly said that we were not paying attention to the environment, and I'm so glad that you picked that topic up. I know we are talking about digital marketing and online marketing, but a very important part of this COVID-19, a very advantageous part of what has happened is we need to look at the bright side, and it is true that we were actually destroying the earth in numerous ways. So, I think Mother Earth took control and showed us that how things are supposed to be done, right? So we will be coming back to you, sir, with a lot more questions
Yeah.
for you to share your
Yeah.
views,
Right.
the online marketing point of view.
Right.
Moving forward to Smita, ma'am, I would love to introduce you, ma'am. You can share some of your thoughts, and then we'll play a brief video, and then we will move on to some specific questions for all the panelists one by one. So I'll just do the honors of introducing Dr. Smita S. Ranganathan. Dr. Smita has over 19 years of experience as an advertising and brand communication professional. She has done various hats in advertising agencies and currently teaches digital strategy and contemporary marketing at prestigious business schools across India, Singapore, Dubai, and Sydney. She is involved as the honorary marketing advisor with NABARD, Ministry of Textiles, as well as runs all women's social enterprise and online e-commerce portal brandloops.com, patronizing the Indian handloom sector. Dr. Smita has been a recipient of numerous awards such as the Best Product Pitch Award, Best Quizzer Award, Best Paper Award on social media and digital marketing, Best Case Writer Award, as well as the Best Faculty Award for 3 times in a row. She was also confirmed the Bhumika Iconic Woman Award by Times of India Group in 2017 and the Outstanding Young Management Faculty Award recently instituted by AIMS at IIM Kochikode. She is also invited speaker at prestigious forums such as GeoTalks. Dr. Smita has been an enthusiastic contributor to popular media publications and has over 46 publications to her credit as a columnist for Times of India, Economic Times, Hindustan Times, Washington Post, Huffington Post, and BBC. Her research interests in the area of solving contemporary marketing challenges. Smita believes to be a recipient of immense grace that reinforces her commitment to be a learner for life. Ma'am, just reading your introduction, I was like, out of words for that. Sorry for the glitches. Please continue.
Good evening, one and all. Special greetings to my co-panelists. Thank you, Sonali, for being so very generous. I think my SEO score is pretty decent for you to have found everything that you found of me, right? So I think that's something that I'm completely self-taught when it comes to digital. Thank you so much, Sonali. Uh, it's such a pleasure and privilege to be here, to be really sharing my thoughts on what COVID, the colors that COVID has brought into our lives. Specifically, as much as I completely concur with what my co-panelists Dharni and Mr. Bharat have actually expressed, I think for me, the way COVID has really made a difference to my understanding of business and human behavior is it sort of made me far more humble as a human being, right? What I mean to say here is I must have spoken in over half a dozen conclaves over the last 6 to 8 months where I would stand for what is called as the experiential economy. But I would say gone are the days when people look at ownership of cars or houses. We are all getting into the experiential economy. Today, when I go back and relook at the same lectures that I gave, I think all of what I spoke falls flat on my face. So I think one of the things that I've really learned, in this phase is how do you continue to be really humble as in terms of being a learner for life, and how can you really make a difference to people whom you work with. In this context, just to keep this really brief under the next 3 minutes, I've tried to put my thoughts as 5 valuable inputs that I normally share with my students or with startup founders who normally come up to me during this phase and ask me, how do you think we should sort of work differently with digital? How should I be trying to capitalize in such difficult times? So I've briefly tried to put this as 5 specific takeaways. So Nali, with your permission, I'd like to quickly take you through what these 5 are. So the first
Please,
learning
ma'am.
that I have personally had is we've been speaking about using digital for branding in a very emphatic way for the last decade or so, right? But what we often miss out is, as much as digital has the power to really take a brand across geographies, across different mindsets, one of the critical things that COVID has actually tried to get me look at more compulsively is how can brands humanize themselves in the context of a calamity, right? So the first thing here for me to learn is, as much as digital is a very, very powerful set of techniques or tools for me to take my value proposition forward as a marketeer, it is a great opportunity for me to humanize the brand. And we have fantastic examples around us that you see of how brands have tried to humanize their existence. One of the most humbling lessons that I learned was from SAP. Now, SAP has this entire suite of products which will allow you to, it's called, I think, the remote work pulse, which essentially enables people to work remote. And in the context of COVID, you had this chief marketing officer and the co-founder, and I think it's Quatrix, if I'm not wrong, who went about saying that here we offer this as a free use tool for all of those businesses which are really finding it difficult to connect online, right? Or to find a collaborative work from home options. So I think this is a fantastic way for us to look at how can I as a brand really stand for the human values behind my brand that go way beyond profitability. So the first one that I would go with is, how can you humanize your brand? The second critical, sort of thought pointer for me is, COVID becomes a great opportunity for each one of us as brand custodians to educate our customers in a real time, agile media fashion. I can actually use new media in a very agile format to go and connect with my customers, right? One of the critical, examples that I saw, which was again very endearing, is what Nike did, for instance. So Nike came up with this campaign where they said, if you've ever dreamed of playing for millions around the world, now is your chance to play. Play inside and play for the world. That was a fantastic Instagram campaign that they ran, where they actually also roped in some of their largest stars that they collaborated with, be it Ronaldo or across the board, right? So that's a fantastic opportunity when you have unprecedented calamities like what you're seeing here. How can I use media, especially new age media, in a very, very agile fashion? So that's my second point. Moving on to the third one, I think there's a great opportunity for us as brand custodians to be associated with the larger good in the world. Now, one, again, a very interesting example that I thought, which was done by the Tata groups. I work very closely with the textile, ministry and different bodies, was what the Tata group did. Now, Tata group came up with an initiative where they created an online platform that could help, weavers from very, very remote villages of Orissa to try and put up their weaves, which could be, picked up by customers online. Now, otherwise, a typical, a weaver sitting in one of these remote locations can never try and get an access to the outside world. So you actually found that the third critical way for us to really make a difference is, can I now stand for the larger good? Now, the fourth one that I'd like to talk about is, how can I go about revolutionizing my value proposition and my business model? That would become extremely critical. Now, in this case, you actually find some of, in fact, I live in Bangalore, and one of the most enduring companies I watched grow from a startup is this company called Urban Clap, which is today called the Urban Company, right? Now, around the COVID time, when we thought that most of them would run out of jobs, you should actually try and see the way they've completely rehashed their value proposition. So most of us struggle without house help even today. So they've come up with very interesting value propositions that comes up with, how can they have services which could end up replacing a maid with in societies where there is an issue for us to even get house help. Last but not the least, how can brands actually look at ways to track the trends and tackle the future? In fact, I was actually looking up Google Trends and trying to understand what are Indians actually Googling for. And there were very, very interesting inputs that I found. Apparently, there is a 300% increase in searches using the keyword Ration Ki Dukan. It's a fantastic opportunity if I'm a grocer to try and connect with people like that, right? So these are my 5 critical touch points. Try and come up with a very human version of your brand. Come up with ways to educate your customers using very agile new form media. Try and see how can you stand for the greater good, and then how do you go about tracking consumer behavior and have something meaningful to give. Digital, non-digital, I think the story remains the same. Digital just gives us a platform to do this more effectively and more efficiently, right? So I think that's where I'd like to close my input, Sunal.
Perfect. I think, ma'am, you made such a valid point. A lot of times when I, hold online marketing sessions, one of the crucial, starting points of my sessions is people always expect me to give like tools and techniques and like how do I, like quick fixes and stuff like that. That the moment you learn a tool, you'll be able to, quadruple your business and to make a lot of profit. I think a lot of things that you explained was like concentrating on the human side of it and treating the platform that the other end of the side there are people that you have to connect through human values and human beliefs. And we'll be coming back to the philosophy that you had shared earlier when we had spoken about it, and we'll have some questions directed towards that as well. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your wonderful 5 pointers. I would like to hand over the share screen to Kumar sir. He wanted to share a video for our participants about the MTP program that's running. And since today is the end day, I would love for him to share a video that he has created, and then we will move on with further questions and chit chat with the panelists. Kumar sir, can you please take over?
Pradyumna, over to you.
Started working with organizations to build a smarter planet. Through thousands of client engagements, we learned that analytics is a fundamental.
Main major attacks happening in the world which is related to day by day life. They are first one, malware, phishing, password attack.
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್ ಅದೇ ಇವಾಗ ವಿಡಿಯೋ
share some of the impacts that COVID is going to leave us with, that we have to live with. It's projected that about $82 trillion will be the cost of COVID over the next 5 years. The hardest hit will be the cities of developing countries.
Healthcare facilities here. I want to emphasize on this. So we're talking about two kinds of healthcare facilities. One is the public facilities and the private facilities. When we're talking about the public facility, we have the ASHA workers who are the front-end workers.
Ago, we started working with organizations to build a smarter planet. Through thousands of client engagement, we learned that analytics is a fundamental.
Main major attacks happening in the world, which is related to day by day life. They are first one, malware, phishing, password attack, DDoS attack, man in the middle attack, drive-by download, maladvertising, and rogue software.
Life. It's impacting of our life and lifestyle, is impacting our profession, impacting our ecology and environment, impacting economy, business, politics, and everything. And while today's focus is about economy, what we need to understand is these four aspects I talked about: lifestyle, profession, environment, and economy. They're all intertwined with each other. We cannot.
Content means information. Chandrika is saying educating the target customers about the brand and products. Yes. Chandana is saying creation and sharing or writing. Content basically means information. Any information you see as part of a marketing material, as part of a marketing strategy, okay, is some of them are completely different things. A Facebook page is a place where you are having a monologue. Okay, a monologue is basically just one person talking to the other people, and there's no reciprocation. There's no necessary reciprocation work for certain people. So it is a lot about testing what is working for you, your account, your audience, your brand, and things like that. But do not miss out on the hashtags. You can definitely utilize them. Now,
Hello. Over to Sonali.
thank you so much for sharing the wonderful video. It was really different seeing myself on the screen as well. I never knew I sounded like that. I think nobody likes the voice of their videos once they see it themselves. All right, thank you so much. I kind of feel a little nostalgic because I've been spending over 5 sessions with the students, like morning and evening. It's been a little difficult. I tend to be very attached to people and things in general. So I'll be moving forward with the panelist and the conversation that we were having. My first question would be to Bharat sir. You were sharing a lot about your experience, and I would love to start the conversation with the online course industry, the webinar and the online course selling digital product industry. Since the lockdown, we have seen like a boost in the online course industry, and I would love to know, what do you feel is the future of that? Do you think it will sustain, or do you think that since everybody is now creating their own online courses, it will like melt down? One second, sir, you're mute. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, see, education in India has always been regulated, right? Regulated by UGC, AICTE, all those bodies. Worldwide, I think there are a lot of regulatory bodies out there. Be regulating those academic curriculums, of course. But one thing you should understand: all these years, whatever we have taught, right? A lot of things that happened was chalk and talk method. It means to say that, like that, to particularly our generation, if you look at, or the previous generation of us, if you look at, they sit in the classrooms from morning to evening, and then there is one way lecture happening, and then note taking happening, and then the guy goes and then probably again goes to a tuition. There also he does the same thing. Now this entire scenario, this is where the learning, if you look at, the learning doesn't happen that way. Learning actually happens in a more interactive medium. Now that is what is really need and today. And if you see, look at many of them employability factors today, we see that we need to actually improve a lot. The country of this size, and the two this much amount of population, we have youngsters, we have to have a system where people learn. And now it is not the mere certification that matters for these people. People want to really update their knowledge, skills, and they want to develop. So it is like, we are going back to the old age, I will tell you. It normally happened, like, see what exactly happened is, when people were living in forest, living in stone age, forest, people are hunters and gatherers. They were hunting and gathering, and then the agrarian age came. The agrarian age, the agriculture happened. Then the industrial age came. When the industrial age came, what exactly happened was, like, we wanted to do everything. It's like mass manufacturing, mass production. So we were also thinking about mass production, some mass education. So I have one particular curricular education. I want the same education to be imparted to all those people, so that they are all trained to go and work in factories, work in various different places. Today it is not the case. Today you are not, most of them are not going to work in factories. We need people to actually create, people to think outside the box, people who have to come out with new ideas, new solutions, rapid. Everything is going to be rapid. When we say product development, has to be rapid product development. So if you look at the product life cycles are getting smaller. So you don't have if you come out with one particular product, within a month or two, there is going to be new technology which is going to come. So the old thing is going to go away. If that's the case, then our knowledge updation has to keep on happening over a period of time, and then we have to keep learning. So it's a continuous learning process. So we have been pushed to this. And if you are not going to adapt, you're not going to then we are going to really suffer. So what exactly, I'll tell you, the opportunity for us today is that there's going to be a lot of different small academies, there has been a lot of academies, in fact, for a long time. But today, even digital, because of digital, a lot of small academies will be coming up. Already there are a lot of them have come, and a lot of opportunities for people who can actually become gurus. People can become mentors, people can teach others. So this is one thing, right, where you have a lot of opportunity for online courses to really happen. But then I think there might be some regulatory mechanism also working on certain things as well. So I would say that today there is, like, you have to be skilled in order to really survive in today's economy. And that will be taken care by these kind of small academies, online academies, which would be mushrooming, and probably they will be really well. So I think that is good, in a way, good. And I am B, and this guy has a company which is actually teaching people online. And all these mentors, I mean, all these mentors are all less than 25 years old. So, like in 25 years old, I'll tell you, there's one of my friend who works for a very reputed, graphic design company, on academy. And I was just talking to him. He said that the students at this your age generation don't want to learn from old uncles and aunties who are very old. I want to learn from young, probably young, trainers who are very young and they can think like me. So there is a whole lot of opportunity for youngsters to come up with new courses, new ideas. And people become old. People might not be able to update their knowledge in terms of probably new technology like AI, machine learning, and so on. So there is a whole lot of opportunity today. Today, I would say, when it comes to online courses, and you can make a lot of money. I'm very sure about it. Lockdown, I'll tell you, lockdown, for example, I took care of lockdown last month. There was no problem. I made almost five batches. I have done 5 batches of training digital marketing, and the sixth batch yesterday I did it. So it's the same case with Dharani. People like Dharani. I've been following Dharani. Even he has been successfully running a training program. I would say this one course, online courses, I would say there is a whole lot of opportunity, and no doubt about it. Whoever who gives good value, and is able to impact people's life and transform, I think there is a lot of things to be done.
Thank you so much, sir. I think you have mentioned a lot of points. So something that I would love to add to is like, I think one thing that my business partner says is like, it's not about the age of the person; it's about the mentality of the end user, the person on the other side. And I think it is an era where competency is taking over just the age factor. I think people are prone to learning from anybody who has enough competency and enough skill to teach them.
Yeah.
And it is, I would say, it is never about the age. I would love to learn from anybody, at any age, be it elder or younger, who has the ability to teach and the excitement to teach.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I would like to actually say certain things, like it was said, like the illiterate of the 20th century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Perfect.
And this was said by Alvin Toffler. This is one thing which you have to really understand. There are a lot of things, if you go back to history, and you can even understand that it has been said so many times by so many people, in fact. So I would say that you have to be ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Perfect, sir.
That's the norm today. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. On that note, I would like to ask the next question to Dharani, sir. So you have been in the industry for over a decade now, and I would love to know your viewpoints of how the industry has changed, from when you had started back in the day to now, and what are you looking forward to?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Sonali. Yes, now that like when we started initially, like we were doing advertisement for different clients, we were able to do brand awareness campaigns, or we generated leads through different campaigns in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google. So that is how we were seeing the industry on an overall perspective. But things changed drastically. The brands where I was working with Naturals, India's #1 spa and salon, we were spending around 30%, max of 30% to digital in 2016 times. Okay, but now things have eventually changed. They are spending more than 70% for digital. Like most of the brands have moved towards digital platform. And after COVID, you would see like newspapers are not getting enough the advertisements, or most of the YouTube channels are getting the advertisements, and Instagram influencers, they are making like they demand the market now. Yes. That is how the industry is evolving. If you are an influencer and if you have serious followers and if you stand for something, definitely brands will come to you. So this is how the market is evolving. But at the same time, I will be focusing more on the digital courses because that is in trend now, and anybody can become a coach, provided if you could add value to your end customer. If you are adding value, the second batch, third batch comes eventually. In the first batch itself, you will be measured whether are you adding value, and if you are adding value, like people will keep coming to you for different courses, maybe for different levels also. There is something called as value ladder. People come to you for a small product, they get satisfied, they get the value, and eventually when you sell some other thing, they will be readily grabbing those opportunity, and people will move on to the second ladder where you will be selling something at the higher price. I'll be sharing a presentation, and that would give you a different perspective on how this actually happens. You'll be seeing a lot of advertisements in Facebook that talks about the free webinar stuff. So that is the happening thing now. But people are bored of the webinar selling, and we have to find out different opportunities where we could leverage the stuff. So normally people will do advertisement in Facebook and Instagram. When you click register, they will take you to the Zoom call where they will get the free webinar for an hour or so. They will be telling about what, but they will not be revealing the how there. Okay, they will be seriously giving you value. Yes, most of the webinars gives values. There are some webinars which don't even give value. Yes, there are few, but on an overall, people are serious about sharing the knowledge that they have. They'll be giving a presentation for 1 hour, and the last 30 minutes or 15 minutes they will be selling the product, which is a pre-recorded course. So this particular Zoom webinar is nothing but a tripwire. And when they come to you in the webinar, and if they purchase through any of these platforms, maybe PayPal, InstaMojo, RacerPay, or GPay, you will be automatically sent a link which you will eventually learn to Teachable, which is an online hosting platform for running different courses. So this is the existing flow. Okay, so people come to you. This is a kind of a trap. I will call it as a tripwire. This Zoom webinar is a tripwire. If you are serious about learning, you will be able to judge the presenter. And now the trend is on the regional languages. This is the hack here, because not most of the people are concentrating on the regional languages. This I experimented, and I made good money in selling online products also. I run products between $499 to $299. That is my bucket size in the online arena. I was doing this, but eventually I got irritated because of so many people who are doing the webinars. Okay, I wanted to pitch differently. So what I did was I used the tribe building approach where we add value first. I used influence of mine where I invited known friends, known people, and from my LinkedIn and Facebook, organic post I made to say. Okay, and then I built the value ladder. I didn't do any advertisement online because I did that for Facebook and other courses. But this particular course is a life-changing course where I conduct India's world's only and first 5 a.m. batch. My webinar starts at 5 a.m. Okay, in the morning. So that is how I created. And the first step would be they purchase the course for a mere amount, like 777, less than 37 rupees per day. That would be their investment, and they purchase the course. And through digital word of mouth, they refer to different people because they have seen value. And for this particular 21,000 worth of course is being given, actual value 21,000 of course. This is not the usual marketing gimmick. Okay, so 777 they are buying it, and I have used some gamification technique wherein under each level there will be different levels. When they finish that course, they will be giving that weekly. We will be giving that weekly certificate. They will be sharing it in WhatsApp and Facebook, and we will be giving very specific hashtags. So the friends of those people, when they see that, they get convinced, and organically I was able to build that community. You will not believe I was able to bring in 299 people who paid for 21 days program at 777, which means 2.3 lakhs sitting at home for a month I was able to make without doing any single advertisement online. Everything happened through my influence. Okay, this is the first point. And secondly, when they see value and whatever you sell in the next thing, the trust automatically goes to the next level, and at least I would say 15% of the people would be buying the product from you. Okay, so that is the conversion rate approximately. And with this, I was able to convert some 40 people who paid around 30,000, and again I was able to collect 12 lakhs. So the advantage here is you can make around 15 lakhs sitting at home with no office, with only internet connection, with less than 15,000 or 20,000 spent only on tools. without doing any advertisement. This is the reverse approach that I wanted to follow, because the current trend in the market is webinar, webinar, webinar. People are bored of webinars. Let me give the direct course to the customer. Let them see the value. Let them spread the word. And eventually, I know if you are adding value, people will come to you. So this is the simple reverse strategy that I worked upon, and it is really doing wonders. And I'm able to get at least 3-4 registrations without doing any marketing every day. So this is what I wanted to stress upon. And again, there is one more point I would say. People have to find their ikigai. Ikigai is the Japanese technique. Say, suppose if you are good at something, and if there is a market need, and if you know something, and if people are willing to pay that thing, that is where you have to land. Leave about the boring job that you were doing all these years. COVID has given us an opportunity to rethink about yourself, to think on yourself, to come up with your plan. And this is the right time to get into the market, and the time that we are waiting for so long to get into the business. I would say digital business is going to be the game changer forever. In next 2-3 years, at least this will be $350 billion industry. And if you are good at something, take classes online. That is what I would say.
Perfect. Sir, thank you so much. That was so insightful. I think we have all known about the whole webinar selling, model, and it has been, exposed in the near future, because in the recent past, because a lot of people have started doing webinars. I think the way that you have approached this has been really unique, and I will, I would need a personal consultation with you for that. I will get in touch with you later on. Since you have shared the philosophy of Ikigai, my next question would be to Smita ma'am to share her own philosophy on digital marketing, as to how she feels like marketing online is more of a philosophy than just tools and techniques. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, Sonali. My wonderful insights from my co-panelists, Mr. Bharat and Mr. Dharani. I really enjoyed the value ladder concept that you brought, and I think that was wonderful. And I so subscribe to what both of you said. Sonali, just to take you through a context of where I come from, right? So I'm pretty old school. Maybe I started advertising like 20 years ago, when most of us who land up into advertising do that by sheer serendipity, right? It's not that I woke up one fine day and I realized that I wanted to be an advertising professional, and then I worked towards that goal. I had to be very open. I did nothing like that. Maybe the only set of people who could employ me because I was decent with words and with concepts was advertising. So I'm deeply grateful to all my past employers who saw value. Coming back to your specific question, so I do believe that as much as digital marketing is a buzzword, I think the critical aspect of digital marketing is our understanding of marketing. Not for a minute am I taking away the importance of tools or techniques or technology to give you palpable results. And like what my co-panelist just said, you could have a fantastic tool, but the man who, or let's make it as general neutral as possible, the person who can use the tool is what will determine the usefulness of the tool. So from that point of view, it is so important for us to be rooted on looking at marketing as a discipline to drive value and capture value. To me, this is my only understanding of marketing. How can I drive value? How can I capture value? And more than ever, I think this generation of marketeers are so blessed with the kind of tools that are available here, whereas we can try and understand the sentiments of my customer base, track what is the customer looking at real time using various digital tools and platforms. To simply put, unless you have your philosophy on what value stands for in your mind as a marketeer, and how do you manage to interestingly capture value in the form of goodwill or profits from your customer base, every single tool that you're going to be using ends up getting reduced to mere digital gimmickry. So it's not about having a great Facebook page or an Insta handle. It's about what is it that you want to talk to them, and how do you want to drive or capture value. So that's my view. It's about figuring out what you want to do, how you want to do it is something that you can always learn on the job, but you need to stand for something very, very specific.
Ma'am, I loved your concept, and the word digital gimmickry is really, really interesting. I actually made a note of it. I hope our participants are also have their notes and pen papers ready, because I'm making a note of everything that you guys are saying. It's a learning for all of us, I think. And I think on that note, I would like to ask the next question to Bharat sir, as to, since he's in the coaching industry and he's also teaching other coaches to take their business online. Can you share some tips for trainers and coaches to actually go digital? What would you feel would be the right path for them?
Could you come again?
Yes, yes, sir. So, I was asking that.
Could you come?
No problem. So, since you're in the coaching industry, can you please share some of your values and tips for trainers and coaches who would want to take their your courses online, who have been teaching offline but want to take it online? Some tips from your end.
I think whatever the past speaker has spoken on things, right? I mean, I would like to continue from that. It's very important, like you say that digital gimmickry, right? That's actually something which can really happen. I'll say the marketing. See, I'm more than a trainer. I'm actually somebody who has been a sales guy and a marketing guy. And if you really look at, in our South Indian languages, when say marketeer, who is a marketeer? Normally you say a person who actually wears a tie, okay, who has a bag in his hand and speaks lies. The kind of misconception that always people have. Because why does normally, if you say what marketer is somebody who actually does say a lot of lies and then somehow tries to actually sell his product. Somehow he is able to dump a product in your head and then just get away. And that's the kind of thing actually people have been having. But marketing is not that, to be frank. Right now, when you say funnel, right, the funnel system, now I think, for example, people like you who are actually want to take up digital marketing as a study, I would recommend you to, for example, look at a course which is offered by HubSpot. There are different courses which are given at HubSpot. It's free of cost. The kind of value that gives HubSpot gives is phenomenal. There is one particular course. There is a course which actually talks about this. That is like the funnel system which we are talking about. This funnel, say marketing is actually a funnel. If you look at it, it's actually a funnel. So strange. It is marketing is a process of converting a stranger into a friend and a friend into a customer and the customer into an evangelist. That's what marketing is all about. But if you look at the funnel, it is always looks like I'm actually trying to capture somebody, and then somehow or the other, I manipulate him and then convert him into a customer. Now, let's say, for example, I have captured. Let's say I use this word called capture. Okay, I've captured some 1,000 people, and these people I have somehow convinced and made them buy my product. Let's say and these guys take up this course, and at least a bunch of them, let's say some 50 or 100 of them, are not happy about your program. And these people will go out and probably spread a negative word of mouth marketing. I have enough amount of experience on this. I had one of the biggest schools where I was a visiting faculty. I even had his chairman calling me, asking me, Bharat, we have this issue. There is a bunch of people giving me negative review online where I have this 1-star rating. What should I do? There is something, you have something called online reputation management these days. You have to make sure that you have to take care of it. Otherwise, what is going to happen is going to have an adverse effect on our brand. So if you look at this in such, it's just not about fun. It's not, they say don't look at it as a funnel. This is actually a cycle, which is like you start, go round and round and round. I mean, round and round means your relationship with your prospects, relationship with your customers, are not something which is like once I get my money, it doesn't end. Once the person become a customer, he or she becomes a lifelong customer for me. And whoever who had that discipline of making sure whatever the promise I made, if I'm able to deliver, only then I will be able to build a brand. And that's what all big brands have done. And because of that, they are able to be there for a very, very longer duration of time. So I would say that if you really want to build a solid would say course, let's say course, or if you want to build a solid space in this thing, I should not look at short term, look at a long term. I think my friend said ikigai. Actually, first thing first is you just think about what is that you would actually stick on to a very long term. So if you are not passionate enough to do, I think you're not going to stick on for a longer duration. So people who want to take up those courses which are something which they are going to be a student. They themselves want to be student for life. Let's say, for example, if you ask me, how long do you going to really learn marketing as a subject? Say marketing is going to be everlasting thing for me, and only then you can actually make sure that you can actually be a teacher or a guru on the subject. I think that's what I would say. So people who can really be committed and patient enough to build a business, a long term business. If you take, even if you say courses, if you take education, if you take training, it is same as any other business. It is same as any other business. One advantage that you would going to have at this point of time is because you don't need to have bigger infrastructure. I don't need to have big classrooms. I don't need to have bigger all these facilities. So right now you can do it with very minimal facility. That's the advantage that you got. I think that's what I would like to probably convey. Yeah.
Perfect, sir. Thank you for sharing that marketing is more than a funnel. It's actually a circle thing. It's like what goes around comes around. And the whole philosophy of how to convert a stranger to a friend and then a customer, and then they become a loyal fan, and then through word of marketing they bring more customers. So the cycle needs to be running. On that note, I would love to ask the next question to Dharani sir, because his company, Social Eagle, has been awarded as the Emerging Social Media Company of the Year 2017 at Asia's largest global mobile summit app. Can you tell us about a little bit of your journey and how probably you have applied these strategies to grow your company?
To be very frank, I didn't apply any strategies. Okay, that's the case. Okay, I accidentally started this company. I met one of my friend in a conference. He told he wanted to do some promotions online, and he saw me that I was active in Facebook. So he wanted me to do that program. I readily agreed. Like normally, Richard Branson says this. Okay, if you are given with an opportunity, and even if you don't know how to do it, grab that opportunity, and you can figure out how you could do it. Okay, that's what I did. So I agreed to that. Got the advance of 10,000 rupees. That was in 2015, and I figured out a way where I brought in 2 freelancers to write content and to do the designs. And that is the day we named Social Eagle. And I was not aware of all this VAT during those times. I researched in Google and used WaveOps as a tool, and I generated the invoice. That is how the name was born in a single day. The project was got first, and then only we started this company. And the project that we worked was a super hit. And that particular client gave me 1.5 lakh every month for 8 months. Okay, then I started using 2 freelancers, and I was happily making 1.2 lakhs on an average as a hobby. So that was me. Okay, that's how I started this. But later, when I started, I didn't know anything about digital marketing except for Facebook profiles. I didn't know how to do ads and other stuff. The entire thing in this journey that I understood is, when you want to do something, you have to just start from home. You cannot expect all the traffic lights to be green when you start from your home. You start from your home, face difficulties. There will be there will be flat tires, there will be accidents, there will be signals. You have to wait there, understand the scenario, mold yourself, and then you have to move on. That is how you have to approach the business. And second thing is, speed of implementation in business matters. Like if there is a trend, adapt to the trend immediately. Otherwise, like the early adapters will always have the better margin, the market positioning will be better, and that is how you can position yourself. All this while I was not using any strategies very specifically, because I am a man against strategies. I believe in taking actions. Okay, let us figure out, like let us test it. Even if we fail, that is okay. In digital marketing, you have nothing to lose. You figure out some opportunities. Maybe you win a client or you lose a client. Nothing apart from that will happen. Okay, but when you take in the client, you have to do justice for them. That, like, I am very clear about that particular part. And when I was working with the IT, I didn't like certain rules. I don't like the HR that impose a lot of rules. 9.5 hours in office, I really hated it. For taking an leave, I don't need to get the permission. Like, maybe I can give an information, I don't want to get permission. That really hates me. Like, I hated that. Okay, I wanted to get that culture in my specific office environment. So people in my office, they know what the client actually requires. They take decision and they let me know actually. Okay, in Tamil they say "Anna iniki varamata." That means I will not come to office now. That would be the update. Okay, they don't call me sir. They don't call me by name. They call me as a brother. Okay, that's how we built in the culture in our office. And I don't believe in these long meetings and all. That is of no use. Okay, they are time wasters for me. 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, what needs to be done? If you are stuck, this is the path 1, path 2, path 3. If you are stuck in path 3, call me. Otherwise, don't call me. Get things done. Okay, that's my policy of getting things done. And you have to trust people. You have to trust the process, whatever process it can be. Maybe a WhatsApp update, that is a process. That can be a simple process. Okay, I don't use Asana or any kind of online tools. I don't use mails. I don't check mails because by policy, I hated all those things. Okay, so I was a big fan of. I'm still a fan of Happiness Delivered by Tony of Japos. Okay, Tony Hayes of Japos. Like, what naturally comes to you as value, that has to be the value of the company as well. Only then you can live up to the value of the company. So I normally trust this thing. You have to trust your employees. Okay, don't micromanage. That is of no use. Like, you have to understand your per hour value. If you are on CEO, your per hour value is different. If you are an executor, if you are a designer, if you are a social media executive, your per hour value is different. Don't do the job of the social media executive by yourself. That is not the role of CEO. The CEO's role is to think. The CEO's role is to do research, and the CEO's role is to act as a king and understand and try to get the update from the team. I don't call it as employees. I call it as team. Okay, that is how you have to build the culture of your offices. Because being in digital platform, you have lot of tools available now. You don't need to call them like friend. There will be a lot of mails that goes in lot of companies. We don't believe in documentation. See, documentation is collecting proof actually, according to. If you trust people, you don't collect proofs. Yes, like that would be the basic ethics that I want my team to follow, and that is what we were doing it in last 4 years. But we lagged in some areas because we were against processes. So we lagged in some areas, but we were happy. I'm happy about it.
Perfect, sir. Thank you. I mean, you have shared such a beautiful way of your journey of how you have, taken experience from your IT background and inculcated things that you liked and changed, and the way that it is done in our industry of building a culture of teamwork and leadership apart from just the boss-employee relationship. And a very beautiful thing that I really love, you said that you grab the opportunity and then you learn how to do it and you do justice to your clients. And another thing was like speed, the adaptability. You have to adapt early. So I would love to, on that note, I would love to go ahead with our, Smita ma'am. And I would love to ask her that, ma'am, due to this pandemic, a lot of businesses are, suffering. And, even the educational institution, the student community is also suffering. So what would you be your viewpoint on, adaptability from the business side of you and also for the youngsters and the student side of you?
Great question, Sonali. Dharani, I'm so inspired by what you said. I think I'm going to recommend at least half a dozen of my students to apply, first as interns and then maybe as employees. I think it's a very, very inspiring thought that you shared. Sonali, answering your question, so there are two sides to this, right? So first thing is, in the context of COVID, if I get your question right, how should one really gear up, right? How should one up their game, right? So I think the way I look at this is this pandemic actually was like a wake-up bell for many businesses which were contemplating the whole idea of should I go online or not. In today's time and space, you don't have a choice of saying should I get online, because more than ever, I think today the reputation of a business, the believability for a business venture depends greatly on what we refer to in marketing as the zeroth moment of truth, which is what stands up to what is being spoken about your company, all right, whenever somebody is searching for you online. So first is there is absolutely no choice, but it is the necessity for every business to be available online. Now the second aspect is the COVID just accelerated this journey of going online, of becoming more visible digitally, right? Whether it is about them talking about what they stand for, whether it is about them creating a platform to connect with customers and loop them in, as leads as a part of their business, or if this was an opportunity for them to go back and connect with existing customers and say how can they continue to be relevant to them, right? So it just accelerated this entire process. Now part two of your question, I have found, as I said, one of the this COVID season, if I want to call it, one of the most humbling lessons for me is when I've seen some of my students, coming up with striking startup ideas for themselves. And to just give you the context, many of these are people who have full-time jobs. These are people who come anywhere between, let's say, 7 to 12 years of work experience. And I've seen them come up with some, coming out of their comfort zones and coming up with such wonderful ideas. For instance, one of my students who comes from a media background put up overnight a portal called covidheroes.com. So when you had, it was called, lockdownheroes.com. So for instance, when the lockdown got announced overnight, there were so many people, right, who were really stuck, did not know, and especially you had a lot of elderly people across the country who had difficulty even getting up to a chemist. And this person actually mobilized such a huge channel overnight. So it's been so humbling for me to study and learn from, who apparently were my students in my class, right? So I think one thing that COVID has really done is it's actually pushed people out of their comfort zones to take up entrepreneurial initiatives that they've always been sitting on. That's one. The second aspect is it's also tried, opening up the intrapreneurial abilities of people working for some really large companies, because they realize that the way they've traditionally been selling their products and services, even if they represent an organization like Ford or General Motors, you're not going to have the listening of people. So I think the critical thing here is entrepreneurs have people who've been wanting to embark entrepreneurship have really taken the step in certain direction to get there. And the second aspect being people in really large, being part of incumbent companies have tried to start looking at reinventing the game and accelerated their progress towards digital adoption and digital execution. So Nali, I'm hoping that sort of helped address your question.
Absolutely, ma'am. I think it did address, and we would definitely like to check out lockdownheroes.com. I think what a beautiful name that your student has come up with. And, as usual, you have shared your pearls of wisdom, and there's nothing I can complain about. Ma'am, we would love to, open up the questions for the audience over here. We have about 130 people, and I have opened up already the Q&A for people. I would love to read out the questions, and some of them are specific for specific panelists, and some of them are pretty general. So, maybe we can go a round robin, starting from Bharat sir and then Dharani sir and then you, ma'am. And you can, you can share your views and then add to whatever the previous panelists were saying. I would say that the first question is to Dharani sir. Rahul Gupta is asking, can you elaborate why webinar marketing did not work?
No, webinar marketing is still working. I didn't say it doesn't work. Okay. But my thought process doesn't sync with webinar selling. I wanted to have an alternate approach. Okay. If you are providing good value product, you can definitely go with webinar selling. And it is not about the course that you are offering, but you have to understand two other skills that is required to sell in webinars. One would be the marketing in terms of reaching out to your customers in Facebook or Instagram. Second, the amount of energy with which you carry the webinar. Okay, that makes a lot of difference. Okay, people are so bored. They don't even maybe continue in a webinar for more than 3 minutes if it is boring. Okay, they have very less attention span. Okay, That is the biggest issue these days. So you have to have the full energy to like manage the audience, because you are not seeing the audience. Again, you are seeing your screen and talking. Okay, so you have to engage them very well. Only then you will be able to sell the product at the nth moment. Okay, and particularly during that 30 minutes or 15 minutes of selling, you have to have high energy, because only that energy will make them purchase. And there should be a specific selling skill also. Okay, so you have to learn. It is not about the product, it is about the marketing skill, it is about the sales skill. You are eventually become a single man run business. Okay, so you have to get a hold of all those skills. That is much required.
Oh, okay, perfect, sir. I hope that answers your question. The next question I'll ask to Bharat, sir. Somebody is asking that, there are a lot of people in the rural and urban areas who have the smartphone, but they don't have a proper internet connection. So, do you have any solutions for that, or would you like to share your views about it?
I mean, my opinion would be very much, subjective, in the sense, like, there is one marketing guru who is actually from the South India, who's one of the top 10 digital marketing gurus in India at this point of time. I'm very much following a lot of things with him. He's a good friend of mine as well. And right now, I think what he has done, this course, whatever he's selling, what he has done is, like what Dharani was saying about this webinar format, is not using that. He is somebody who actually try to eliminate processes, like make sure that it is actually make sure that the entire funnel becomes very easy for people to actually go about. So what he has done is, he, instead of this webinar, he has used WhatsApp. I think he is somebody who came out with this WhatsApp concept, where there is an ad which goes on the Facebook, and people actually click on the ad,
Bharat, sir, sir, your voice is cracking a little bit. So, if you can just check your internet connection a little bit. Yes, sir, it is still cracking for me. Is it cracking for the other panelists as well? Yeah. Sir, if you can just check your internet connection, and we would just park that thought and probably move on with the other panelists. Is that okay?
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it is better now.
Okay now?
Yeah, it is. It is much better now.
Yeah, I think so. I think in between there is some, yeah. So I would say this is the thing. So I would say that people who do not say, because people who consume this, or people use mobile, so people who use mobile phones, many of them are using mobile phones. So I would say that it is very tough. People can't afford to buy probably a laptop or probably a computer at home. Even my son's case, there is a class which happens in a school. So it's cool. Of course, this webinar thing happens. Most of the students are actually accessing on the mobile phone. So I would say, if in India, I think since people have a lot of penetration, mobile penetration, I think that's the way to go. So we have to invariably adapt. So we have to adapt to the realities. Here, I would like to actually tell you one thing. A wise man, okay, has to stay in touch with current realities and trends to do his job, business or profession, in order to keep his wealth protected and safeguarded. And this was said more than thousand, I would say more than 10,000 years in our Tamil culture. We call Tirukural. Okay, in that Tirukural 482, it's been said. I would say that this is something which is etched in the times of our, human history. And I would say, if you are not going to stay in touch with current realities and trends, I think we are going to really have a great problem. So I would say we have to adapt. So we have to adapt to the technology. So if there is a technology which is used, probably this your mobile phones, you have to adapt to that. See. And the next thing I would like to tell you, this is another thing, same thing from more than 10,000 years back. What people have said, okay, that what Smita was saying. She was saying that it's not about the tools and the gadget. It's always the principles will remain the same. Because today you say there is Facebook, there is Twitter, there is Instagram. Tomorrow it is going to be something else. It is going to be AI. It's going to be a different platform. That's going to be ML. All those things are going to come out. There's going to be VR. There is going to be AR. All those things are going to come. So you're not going to have, look at a different reality now. So even with all the tools, gadgets, and equipments, if one does his job with time consciousness and your so-called your management, right, then that person has the quality to be a leader and an administrator. So if you really want to be a leader, and then you have to make sure that it's not the tools and the gadget, it is the way you actually manage things. That's very important. So it's been said more than 10,000 years back. It belongs to Kural 483. I would like to record this. So that's what it is. So it is like in human history keeps repeating itself, and we have to understand that we have to adapt accordingly. Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. I've been going through the chat screen for our attendees who are attending. A lot of people have shared the interest in getting in touch with each of you guys personally. So I would first of all like to ask Smita ma'am, if anybody wants to learn more from you, or work under you or intern under you, how can they reach you? And is there anything that you are looking for particularly that possibly our attendees can grab and jump on that wheel?
Sonali, I could post this. You could maybe share our email IDs. My email ID. I'm more than happy to share my email IDs with any of the attendees who may want to really try and sort of work with me in terms of their understanding of digital, right? So that's something that we can always do. Typically, Sonali, as I said, my take specifically, whether it is COVID, whether it's digital, it's so important to not get carried away by the fads. As much as one needs to really have their fingers firmly kept on trends, I would normally joke this, open up with this joke whenever I start my digital strategy classes. This has been going on for 8 years now. But let's assume that I give 30 hours of lecture on Facebook marketing, right? And you get hired by, let's say, Alibaba, and your first job, right, is in China. Then what would you go about telling them? Because virtually Facebook as a platform does not exist, right? So in China, so it's so important for you to understand the nuances of social media, how you use social media effectively as a means to collaborate and interact, rather than focusing on very very specific tools, which can always be learned on the job. So Sonali, you can always share my email ID, and I'll be happy to help.
Perfect, ma'am. Perfect. We will definitely do that. Also, there are questions from Dharni sir in the same lines, that if somebody wants to intern with you or learn more from you, how can they contact you and how can they get in touch with you? And is there anyone specific that you're looking for in your team? Because our attendees seem to love your work culture and your attitude towards work. So if you can share your contact details and anything specific. So you're on mute. One second.
Definitely, I will share my contact details here. We are experimenting something new during this COVID time. We are planning for 100% virtual team. That is what we are focusing on, okay, with the leverage of the existing tools, okay. So I don't want my guys to come to Chennai and work again. Let them be at their native. I have to ensure that they have a good network connection and a comfortable ergometric environment for them to work. That is what we are focusing on right now. So at least for next 4 to 6 months, we are not planning to invest on the time for internship. Okay, this our stance now, but maybe after 5 or 6 months, people can apply. And definitely, I will share my details here right now. Okay.
Perfect. So attendees, I hope you are making a note of our panelists and whatever they're sharing, and the moment they open up their doors for interns and working opportunities, to jump on the bandwagon. I would love to ask the panelists to share their parting thoughts as we are almost at the end of the session, keeping in context the time and being respectful for the schedule that we are following. If you can share some parting thoughts and some key pointers for the panelists, for the other panelists, and for the attendees in general, in not more than 60 to 90 seconds, that'll be really great. We'll start with Bharat, sir. Please, sir, go ahead. Sir, you're on mute. 1 second.
Mute, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I would say that if you really want to learn digital marketing, make sure that it is a commitment that you have to have. That is very important. And you have to have a lot of patience. If you do not have patience as a marketer, you're not going to really make it through, because it's these two factors very important. You have to be very patient. You have to have a lot of commitment, and you have to be very, very consistent. In fact, these three things is what being said by your great one of the greatest gurus of your marketing, guerrilla marketing, right? By the J. Conrad Levinson. You used to say, if you do not have this discipline, you're not going to really survive. Because it is not about just making money today. It's not about making a fast buck. It is actually making sure that you retain your customers for lifetime. The lifetime value of a customer is very, very important. And those people who have the commitment and who have the patience, and you are able to have the tenacity to go through the journey, will always be able to do really well in marketing. It applies to digital marketing as well. Now, digital marketing is a more a responsive medium. It is a direct marketing medium. The subject which you are going to really specialize is none other than direct marketing. So if you can go through the subject in a very deep, insightful knowledge, if you're able to really dedicate yourself and you have to learn, I think you can really do a great, you can have a great career end of the, probably your journey. Because the reason is tomorrow it is going to be only this is going to be there. It's going to be digital. So digital is going to be the thing. So I would say that you have to probably take up this particular and have a discipline to learn. And if you learn it, it will be very nice. If it's going to be a lifelong skill, it's going to be there for you. And I think that's what I would say. And I would say, if you want to learn these things, it's important that you have certain things which you have to learn. First, you should actually learn the art of selling. So art of selling is something is very, very important. Number one, and number two, is if you really want to learn art of selling, the next subject you have to specialize is something called copywriting. So copywriting is nothing but salesmanship in print. So what you write, on the ad copy, that's what actually sells. And you have to become a student of so-called your ad, copywriting. It's called something called copywriting. Content writing is slightly different from copywriting. Understand? When you actually do a lot of brand building, PR activity, then your content writing becomes very important. But if you say ROI based marketing, I have a program called ROI based marketing, which is predominantly on that focus. So I would say you become specialized in copywriting, create ads which are winning ads, so that you can actually do whatever Barney was talking about. So I would say that you remain as a student for life and have a commitment on the subject, learn it, and be a practitioner more than somebody who is actually talking to be practice. So practice on every day. It is like, and it's like any other thing. So you have to keep practicing. So if you keep practicing, it becomes a lifelong thing for you. And that's what my advice would be. And if you want to probably get to know about my work, you can actually log into my website called bharatsurendran.com. There is another thing called bharatsurendran.in. I have two websites. Probably you can actually go check out my few free programs. There are some of them are free downloadables. Probably you can also check out that if you have time and patience.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I think a lot of people in the participant section were asking about, is digital marketing a good career? Where do we start? And I think Bharat sir has concisely answered all of your questions. Please get in touch with him.
I would like to add on certain. I would like to add on something. See, for example, people become destiny. When I finished my engineering, first thing, there was a lot of IT boom. Everybody getting into IT industry. So I was invariably got into an IT job where I was doing website development. So I was a techie. I was basically a techie. Were literally coding websites. I'm talking about very starting period of your .com boom, .com in a bubble period. And then it became that it was my karma that I have to become a sales guy and a marketing guy and eventually become a digital marketing guy. So I would say that your career, I would say, if your destiny is to become a digital marketer, you would become.
Perfect. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on your journey. I'd like to ask Dharni sir to share his around like 60 to 90 seconds and to close up, whatever he has shared his experience and to give us an overview of how actually, what is the role of digital marketing? What is the role that digital marketing has played in ensuring uncertainty in the times of uncertainty? What is that? That is the topic for today. What is your parting thoughts, sir, on that?
Okay. Like there are many businesses that are getting shut down. There are many businesses that are facing issues. Look for the pain points in those sectors. Try to try to digitalize those solutions, and feel free to fail. No worries, but be ready to learn and implement again. Okay, this would be my closing thoughts. Thank you.
Perfect, sir. That is beautiful. And moving on to last but not the least, of course, Smita ma'am, what are your parting thoughts on the same?
Sonali, I think I'm going to be extending what Dharani left us with. All right, my clear understanding of marketing is only using two keywords. We are all having motivations. We all have our anxieties. So do our customers. What Dharani actually brought in as pain points are our anxieties. So, how do you ensure that whatever solution that you're taking to the market will end up emphasizing on your customer's motivation and can eliminate the anxieties of a customer? As far as your solution typically revolves around it, you can never be out of business, right? And the beauty of digital is, see, I'm a trained microbiologist by my basic graduation. Digital marketing to me is like viewing through a microscope. The results are real time. Your ability to make amends to campaigns that you're running is real time. So you need to really make sure that you know what is that organism that you're trying to look at through the microscope, and specifically what results that you are seeking, which is what we refer to as metrics in digital, right? Once you have absolute clarity on this, and when you have a good understanding of what's the motivation and anxieties of your customer, there is a great opportunity to make a difference. So, only that's where I'd like to close.
Perfect, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing. I think, as part of the 3-day program that I was running for RNSIT, something that I shared with the participants and the attendees was to have a result-oriented mindset. And whatever they do online or offline or in their life in general, they need to focus on a desired end result. And I think your parting thoughts, revolved around that idea as well. On that note, I would love to thank all of the panelists for being with us today. And I would love to hand it over to Kumar sir to close today's wonderful session. Kumar sir, over to you.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I'm Professor Rakesh here. See, we'll just wind up in another 10 minutes time.
Sure.
RNSIT MBA always believes in change and thrives towards achieving change. And in this connection, the Department of MBA had organized series of webinars, MDP and online fest in this pandemic situation. And I now request any participant volunteer to share their feedback about the 3-day MDP session. I request the panelists to just bear with us for the 10 minutes, please. So first, I would like to invite Padmavati madam to share her experience about the 3-day MDP session. Madam, please.
Yes, hi, good evening all panelists over there. I'm Padmavati. I'm principal of a vocational skill college. It is called Apparel Training and Design Center. The 3-day workshop, it was a wonderful learning session, I must say. And the presenter, Mrs. Sonali, excellent. She kept us always engaged with the session, and she was giving us assignments and questions, answers, and it was very, very, very interactive session. We felt like we are in the classroom. And usually these trainings and webinars, some people they just keep it on and then they will just listen and then come back and attend. Just for namesake, it was not done, and we were fully concentrating on the sessions. Excellent. And the evening panelist discussions, again, it is wonderful session. Thanks to the management for arranging such a great session. We love to attend such sessions in future as well. Thank you so much. Thank you all panelists.
Thank you, Madam Padmavati, Madam. Now
Thank
I
you, sir.
request Varsha Srinivas to share her experience. Varsha Srinivas.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible, madam.
Sir, hello. Hello.
Yeah, you're audible, madam.
I would like to appreciate each and every one who were present for all these of 3 sessions, in spite of all the chaos which are going around us. And I would like to thank Sonali ma'am. Usually I am a finance background subject and had no literally knowledge on marketing. Ma'am just thought from the basic to the whatever the today's scenario needs. So I would like to thank each and every one to giving a wonderful session, and I'm looking forward for many more like this. And I would like to thank RNSIT to give such an opportunity to learn the things on a digital platform. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Varsha. And now I request Ms. Pavana, the last volunteer, Ms. Pavana, to share her experience. Ms. Pavana. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am.
Myself, Pavna. Actually, I'm a student, final semester, and I really enjoyed the three days of class. It was pleasant to be with Sonali ma'am, and thanks for RNSIT to give this big opportunity. And I have learned so many things about marketing, which I was really not knowing a single bit before. And thanks to everyone.
Hello. Thanks to all the volunteers who share their experience. And surely RNSIT would arrange many more events and many more webinars and MDPs in the years to go. And now we have a dynamic and ever supportive principal, RNSIT, Dr. M.K. Venkatesha sir, with us, who is there throughout the session. Sir, kindly, I request you to unmute and please deliver the presidential remarks. May I kindly request our dynamic principal to unmute and deliver the presidential remarks. Sir, please. Hello. Hello. So as sir is not available, now I kindly request our head of the department, Dr. U. Bojana sir. Bojana sir, to deliver the presidential remarks. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Rakesh.
Welcome, sir.
I would like to thank today's panelists, Mr. Dharani, Dr. Smita, Dr. Bharat, for today's session and ensuring certainty in uncertain time. It was really a fantastic session. I thank you all for your time to share your knowledge with the 100+ audience. I also would like to appreciate the energy. Can you ask others to unmute, please?
I kindly request other participants to please unmute.
Yeah. Shall I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
I also would appreciate the energy levels Miss Sonali carried for all these 3 days to conduct MDP and digital marketing. It was really wonderful. Sonali, I thank you personally and also on behalf of RNSIT and RNSIT MBA. We RNSIT MBA is also offering a full-fledged course on digital marketing powered by Google. The participants, those who are interested, you can reach out to Mr. Dharani, Dr. Bharat, and you can also reach out to the Center of Excellence RNSIT MBA, which is powered by Google, and we are also offering a full-time course on digital marketing. You can count us for digital marketing. And thank you, Miss Sonali. Thanks. I would like to thank all the panelists, and also I would like to thank all the participants who have attended digital marketing MDP for last 3 days. Thank you. Over to you, Professor Rakesh.
Thank you, sir, for all your support and encouragement in hosting this event.
Thank you.
It's the time to invite Professor Kumar, Program Chair, to propose the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Good evening, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, audible.
Yeah. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. We, RNSIT MBA, have successfully completed a 3-day program on management development program and one panel discussion on digital marketing. First and foremost, my thanks goes to the Almighty who made this event happen without any obstacles. My deepest thanks to Dr. R.N. Shetty sir, Chairman, Dr. H.N. Shivshankara sir, Director, Dr. M.K. Venkatesha sir, Principal, Sri Ganapati Yaji sir, Registrar, who supported to conduct this MDP. Thank you very much. Special thanks to Dr. U. Bojana sir, Head MBA Department, for all his encouragement and support extended in hosting the MDP. A special thanks to Ms. Sonali Datta, the resource person for the 3-day MDP, and who also accepted to be the moderator at the last minute. And thanks to all the panelists, Ms. Smita Ranganathan, Mr. Bharat, and Mr. Dharani Taran, to spend your precious time with all of us here. And a special thanks goes out to all the student coordinators who have moved mountains in the background to show you the event in its current form. Pradyumna, Yashas, Pranav, Yogesh, Rajashri, Mandakini, Meghana V, Nirupama, Pallavi V, Tanushri, Subramanya, Smita Rao, Sumera, and Sanchana. A very big thank you for all of you. Finally, thanks to all our sponsors, Knowledge Partner Business Standard, and in specific, Jairam sir, who has been very instrumental in making this happen. Technology partners, Vision Digital India, and associate partners, Karnataka Management Association. Thanks also to all the participants across India and other places in the world who were part of this program. Last but not the least, thanks to all my dear colleagues who extended their support in conducting this event. Thank you, one and all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Kumar, for your tedious and continuous support. Thank you, Professor Kumar, for your tedious and continuous efforts and support in organizing this webinar and MDP series. The entire 1 week, the entire technical support and the entire backbone was Professor Kumar. Thank you so much on behalf of RNSIT MBA. And thanks to all the participants of webinar and MDP, and stay tuned with our social media pages for more events of RNSIT MBA. And special thanks, my heartfelt thanks to the panelists of today's evening and the moderator of the panel discussion, Ms. Sonali Datta, Smita Madam, Bharat Sir, and Dharanendran Sir. So a special thanks to you all on behalf of RNS family. And we always believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is always one family. Thank you all. Can we leave, ma'am?
Thank you, Professor Rakesh, for putting this together. Thank you, Sonali. It was very well done.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Wonderful to connect with you, Bharat sir. We'll be in touch.